Hello, everybody. I am here with you live, though probably none of you are going to watch this live if you even watch it at all. But I'm here with my lovely sister. You what?
Hi. I said I hope they're fucking watching.
They better be. No, actually, I made it unlisted for now. So
Cool. Good.
cool. Good. Typical Kale response. Actually, no, I'm surprised you haven't yelled anything yet. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Kale.
I work at a restaurant and I live in Colorado. I am 21, an INFP, and I'm pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, you are. And you're not going to be working at the restaurant very much longer, are you?
No, but in my 2 weeks, I'm succeeding.
Whoop whoop. So what made you decide to quit your job?
Well, mostly just being unhappy with the management and nobody really caring and the lies of humanity that are spread around. You know, they pretended to be something that they weren't when I got hired, and I just I don't feel right getting paid by people that lied to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Can you give us any examples of like specific things that they lied about?
It's just supposed to be a very humanitarian environment where you're allowed to be yourself, and it's supposed to be a work family where everyone's super supportive of you. But no, it's just a big fat no. And it's not worth the money. You know, I'm getting paid really good money right now, but it's not worth it to me. I would rather just be somewhere where I know what I'm expecting. Like the humanitarian vibe and saying that everyone is welcome, but then having your boss talk poorly about you and never talk to you, never try to resolve things with you, you know. It's very passive aggressive, nobody's very open, and it's not a healthy environment for me.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like something I would probably not want anything to do with either. Oh. Well, your video froze for a second. I think we got you back, though. Maybe. This has been our struggle all night. It works, and then it doesn't work. We were having such a good conversation. I was really excited to take this somewhere. Well, I'm probably going to, unless this gets fixed. Oh, no, she dropped. We'll see if she comes back. I'm going to give it like a minute or two. Oh, already? I see something. Are you back?
I guess. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm glad I didn't stop, though, because I was like, no, we were getting somewhere.
Right, we were actually able to like get started.
Yeah. So basically, you were just saying how it's inauthentic, really, in a way, the way that they portrayed the business versus the way that they actually run the business.
Yeah. It's very secretive, and there's a lot of miscommunication that no one wants to work on. And the manager is very passive aggressive and aggressive. So even she won't directly say what she means, but if she's mad at you, she'll literally throw shit at you.
Like physically throw things at you?
Bruh, okay, let me tell you a story, right? So my boss, he likes to kind of abuse the kitchen and take a lot of our food and stuff for his own, like whatever the hell he's doing. So he has this list out of all of these things that he wants us to make for him and get done for him before he goes off on this fucking little adventure and, you know, whatever. And like the day before it was all supposed to be done was the day that I was off. And I told Michelle that I would come in and pick up some extra hours and help them out, right? And at that point in time, a coworker of mine was a dish person specifically, but she was supposed to be getting cross-trained on prep, right? And when I got in and stuff, I was talking to Michelle, and which is her name.
Not me, not me, guys.
Yeah,
I promise.
no, my manager's name is Michelle. And since she was supposed to be getting cross-trained, and I already know how to do everything for a year, I asked her if she would be cool with me getting on dish and letting the other girl off of dish and onto prep so that she could get that stuff done and get some more experience because she'd only been on prep a couple of times, you know. And Michelle said it was fine, but then the rest Keith needed her to do, she had her doing one project the whole time. And the whole time I was on dish, she was just throwing the dishes in the sink and like just like all over the place. And it was really violent. So even though she didn't hit me with anything, she was letting out her anger of me making the choice to get this girl off of dish. She's taking all that out on me. When, as the manager, that's kind of her job to do, not mine. But I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds like she was upset with that decision that you made to let somebody
She could have
else
told
do
me
it.
no. I asked her if it was okay before I did it. You know, it's not like I was just like, hey, Teresa, get off of dish and go on to prep and do this shit. You know, I made sure that she was okay with it. And that's that passive aggressive shit of saying, yeah, it's fine. Shit at me while I'm in dish. And I'm not the only person that gets that from her, you know. That's just my own personal experience.
Okay, I'm gonna say something right now because this is like one of my biggest pet peeves about people, and I'm guessing you're gonna say the same exact thing. I hate when people say that everything's okay and they don't mean it. Like, I don't care that you don't like it. I care that you lie about liking it.
Right? Like, if speak up for yourself. Speak up for yourself. That's all I'm asking you. Just be fucking blunt with me. Like, if you don't want me to do something, let me know. Like, I'm not gonna be butthurt, but don't fucking lie to me.
Yeah, lying doesn't really help anything. And in fact, at least, especially for people like us, it just makes us not trust that you ever tell the truth in a way.
Literally.
I don't, and I think that right there has to do with like like our cognitive function because we have such strong introverted feeling. When people use their FE to lie, which is their extroverted feeling, which is like, you know, trying to keep everything level and managed like emotionally, it's just like, you know what, I'll get over myself if you just tell me the truth.
Exactly. Oh my God. Even if you make me upset and turn me down, like, I'll get over it, but at least tell me the truth and put it out there so we know where we stand, you know?
is
People
that
just people want
is
to wear
that
a mask.
Yes, yes. And do you think that's something that you've experienced with friendships as well?
Ow! Ow! Hold on. I was being attacked by my cat.
The cutest kitten ever.
Oh my God. Yeah, he's super sweet. But in personal friendships, yes. Like a good friend of mine, we don't speak anymore, obviously. And like she wouldn't lie to me, but she would not keep me informed, you know, like I would try to keep up with her and ask her about things about herself, and she wouldn't tell me anything when I would try to ask. And we ended up getting into a fight, and I was just trying to ask her like why she's been acting a certain way towards me. And she like the gist of what she was saying came across like she just expected me to know everything that I was supposed to ask about. And you know, like she moved and was in a different life path with people that I've never met before. So how am I supposed to know what questions to ask if I don't have anything to go off of? And I don't know, deflection gets you nowhere. basically. So it wasn't necessarily lying, but it was trying to change the situation at the same time from what it really was.
Kind of like trying to deflect the fault, to deflect the blame.
Yes, exactly. Which it didn't necessarily have to be a blaming situation either. That's just what it turned into, when it could have been easily worked out if the other party was willing to work. But
right. And what's interesting is if you take into account your guys' personality, I think I know who you're talking about, is an ENTP, which has extroverted feeling as their third function, which means it's not as developed as someone who has it in their leading functions, but it's something that they use to get what they want a lot. And you have really, really strong FI. So you want to be understood, and you were just trying to express your feelings about the situation. You were just trying to say, like, hey, this is how I feel about it. And instead of addressing any of those feelings, she was just like, here's all the problems I have with what you're saying, essentially.
yeah, pretty much. And like, I can understand like the miscommunication on that level, because I can come across aggressive sometimes, like when I feel that strongly. But I don't know, when you know somebody long enough, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that situation at this point.
Yeah, like you would think that you know each other well enough to know that kind of inherent difference about you guys, and like to know. But see, in a way though, it's almost as if you guys were both assuming something. Like you were assuming that she would know. Well, no, because you were telling her. But in a way, to some degree, you were assuming that she would know that you would be upset by a lack of communication. And
Yeah.
she was upset that the communication wasn't what she wanted, essentially. It wasn't the exact kind of communication that she wanted.
Yeah.
Like she thought you were trying to use the relationship to fill some kind of hole, and you're just like, I thought we were closer than that.
Pretty much. And I don't know, that's really sad, honestly, because I'm pretty good at being by myself, as much as I suck at it sometimes.
Yeah. But to lose a friend like that just seems really unnecessary and immature.
Yeah.
And just like the avoiding of talking about the way someone feels, and perhaps she just felt uncomfortable and didn't really know how to respond, is like one of the excuses my mind comes up with. But then when I really think about that, that's all it really is an excuse.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes you gotta let people go, and if they're not willing to try, then you gotta try with somebody else.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, do you kind of want to like tell us about that dream that you had a little bit before she moved?
That was something that happened when I was completely conscious. That was a past life recall that I had, and it was really fucking wild. Um, I was in my living room when this happened, of all places, just totally random, and I was looking at pictures of us and stuff, because I made like this big like painting poster thing for her goodbye gift, because she was moving away and stuff. And I started getting visions, and we were in a time period where there was no cars or computers and stuff. Like, this was long before we had like real technology like we do now. And we were in an arranged marriage, which was really odd to think about being married to her. But in this life, we weren't in love with each other, even though we were married. We were an Indian couple, with our white robes, and we just lived on a farm together, and we finished out our lives together. And I could feel at the time who she was and see her. And we were still best friends though in that lifetime, even though we weren't in love with each other and we were married, you know, because of like the culture and everything, but we were still just best friends and really close. So like, even though it doesn't necessarily make it any easier emotionally to deal with, it mentally makes it make sense of why we ended up needing to split ways in this lifetime. Because like, we're still close, like obviously we were still going to be close either way, but you know, instead of finishing things out with each other this time, we had to do our own thing.
Right, because like in a way almost you were together too long because you were forced into that kind of thing. And so
Exactly.
now you have to actually like let it go and be like, hey, we're not actually forced to do this anymore. Like the world brought us with the magnetism to each other, but that doesn't mean that we have to stay that way.
Exactly. Hold on, I'm going to pick up the pup.
No worries.
Got a pug.
So cute.
I know, dude. She's sweet. She's super sweet. I'm laying down.
I can tell. Oh, it's so funny because we haven't really introduced this idea yet, but those of you guys who watch me know that I'm an ENFP. I almost said INFP. I'm an ENFP, and my little sister here is an INFP, and you might not be able to tell in the video, I don't know, because of my glasses and stuff, but we are always told that we look exactly the same. And what's even worse is that our personalities are so gosh darn similar that we do really get confused for each other. But the more that we've gotten to know each other in these last, like, I'd say like 5 years, we've really come to like understand the differences in our personality and really realize like why you are indeed an INFP and I'm not.
Yep.
So why don't you start by telling us a little bit like about what it's like to be an INFP?
Oh God. I don't know. I'm introverted and I feel everything super intensely, which causes a lot of issues and misunderstandings because like I keep a lot of things to myself and don't really speak on it. And I'm also able to see like how the situation affects other people and stuff, but things don't always necessarily get said. I tend to bottle things up, and I feel like with personalities like yours, you're more likely to say how you feel when it happens. And I have to like train my brain to be able to say what it is when it happens so that I don't explode.
Well, I too have felt that feeling, but I mean, we were even talking about like how I would address issues like yours at work because I've been in a similar workplace situation. I think we might have lost her. Hold on. You.
Michelle, it's not working.
Oh, there you are. Oh, I heard you. Can you hear me? Sorry. Kale. Intermission, intermission, yeah, intermission, ooh, yeah, intermission, 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 ooh, intermission, 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 ooh, 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 ooh. Are you back?
Are you back? I didn't hear anything that you said. It was like, when like robots, like when they're shutting down, it's just kind of like blip, blip, blip. Like,
Yes.
like it just sounds like a robotic like malfunction. It doesn't sound real anymore. That's what I was
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, I have a feeling that because your mountain internet is completely like wireless, I think it does throttling, which basically like refreshes it pretty regularly, which can cause your bandwidth to kind of like bloop, 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 wave around in a not good way. I can go ahead and repeat what I was saying. I was just basically saying that because you had said that I'd be much more likely to say how I feel in the moment, which I definitely agree with to an extent. Because, like, I've been in a similar workplace environment like you're talking about. And when you come up and say something, it's because you've been bottled up with this idea for so long that you can't handle it anymore and you have to let it out. Like, it kind of like explodes out of you. Whereas when I let something out, I've thought about it and I'm like, okay, I've been recognizing this. We need to address this now before it becomes an issue, because it's going to become an issue for me if we don't do something now. Like, I definitely think that we both recognize similar things happening. And I would agree that I'm probably more likely to try to do something about it and prevent it getting worse. Whereas, what really do you think causes you to hesitate?
I don't know. I think a lot of it is just how we were raised and stuff, and like being the age that I was, watching how things happened, just being kind of trained that way in a sense. And also like the side of me that just doesn't want to hurt anyone's feelings or anything. And like I definitely have a more abrasive vocabulary than you. So even though we could be saying the same thing, yours is going to sound a lot nicer and mine is going to sound like fuck you.
Because and I think this has to do a little bit with like functionality wise too, because my extroverted thinking, which is like basically my way of expressing my feelings, and I'm not saying that that's 100% it, but I do think mine's higher up in my stack, which means I use it a lot more, and I actually get into loops where I use it exclusively and forget about my feelings. Um, yours is in the fourth, so it's the inferior, which means it's like a child, which means when it comes out, it's like throwing a temper tantrum, which is kind of interesting to think about it, and such a clear example between the two of us, since we are so similar and yet so not. Like, and I was watching something, and I'd like to hear your opinion on it. Basically, this guy's theory was we have like a grandparent or critical function, and yours would be introverted intuition. And what that would do is you would see other people's choices and think that they're making the wrong choice. And you could see that with almost everybody. You might see the wrong choices that they're making.
Oh my God, all the time. All the time. If I could make choices for people, that would just make life so much easier.
But the oxymoronic quality of this is that you're much less likely to act upon something that you like or want.
Yeah, I do get scared and talk myself out of it a lot, which I mean, now that I'm in my 20s and I'm getting older, that's another one of those things that I'm trying to retrain in my brain so that I don't stay like that, but it's definitely been a struggle for a long time being like that.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm so glad it's actually true for you, because I was like, I don't know if that's going to be right for her, because I was like, I feel like you go after things that you want.
It depends. Like, it depends on how passionate it makes me feel. When I feel that initiation really deep rooted in me, then I'll definitely go for it. But some things I feel like are more sensitive issues, and like I weigh the pros and cons really extreme on both ends. Like my personality can be very black and white in that sense, like really heavy and really light at the same time, and it's hard for me to get to that gray ground, so it's a it's a balancing act in my life.
That's so interesting because I think like what you just said for a lot of people is really going to help them understand what it's like to have introverted feeling, is that like feeling that's inside you that like motivates you to take action upon things. I think that that's something that people underappreciate or don't really recognize about introverted feeling, is that it is kind of like a motivating drive to do something for yourself, something that you personally want and you personally believe is the best thing for you to do. Which, like for me, it's not my primary, it's my secondary. And what ends up really happening is that mine is more for everybody. Like I want to do what's right for as many people as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I can seriously neglect what I think is right for me. And I'll do a bunch of stuff that I think is really cool and really efficient and really going to help a bunch of people. And then I'll be sitting around after it's all said and done, or maybe I'll have like a sudden realization in the middle of doing one of these projects and realize, man, this is not what I want.
Yeah.
This is wrong.
Definitely.
I've taken this too far. That is so interesting. There was something else I wanted to ask. Hold on, I have it written down.
Okay.
Because I wasn't actually expecting us to do this. We were just like, oh, we're going to try it out. And it's actually turned into like a super good conversation. I'm totally going to post it. Okay, where did I write? Okay. Okay, so one of the questions I really wanted to ask you is, how do you show appreciation for your friends?
I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty terrible at it most of the time. I feel like most people don't really know how I feel about them because, like, I don't know how to say anything besides I love you and give them hugs and, like, deep eye contact and stuff. But, I mean, like, when certain things come up, like Father's Day, for example, like my friend Patrick, I gave him a card, to show him that, like, even though he's not my dad, I appreciate him like sticking around for his kids because, a lot of parents don't know how to do that. Or like I'll do favors for people and like do things for them to show them that like I'm here for them and they don't have to do it alone. Even if it's just like going over to a friend's house and doing the dishes for them or something, or just like hanging out with them when they're like feeling this way or that way or whatever the hell it is. I tend to do things for people more than like I say things, if that makes sense.
Right. What do you think is difficult, or what is the most difficult thing about actually saying how you feel to somebody?
Just being willing to be that raw with people, because a lot of people take it the wrong way, and I'm a super emotionally intense person. So, like, if I really get down to the nitty-gritty of how much I love somebody, like, I'll probably cry.
Right.
And I don't like people seeing me like that emotional or raw. A lot of the time I keep a lot of that inside.
Yeah, I can really relate to that second part of not wanting anybody to see my emotions or how I actually feel. In a way, it's almost like I might scare them off
Yeah.
with how I feel. Or maybe what's even worse is like maybe I will share how I feel, and they won't, you know, they won't feel the same way, or they'll say they feel the same way and don't mean it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which
Yeah,
goes
'cause
back
that
to our
happens a
earlier
lot.
point. What?
I said, because that happens a lot, especially in this world right now where a lot of people are dealing with the same fears but have less healthy ways of trying to express it.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, you just admitted someone has trouble expressing how you feel, but you just also said that we need to do more of that, more of expressing how we feel. What do you think is like a first step that we could take to express our feelings more?
I mean, the way that I think about it at this point in my life is like putting yourself out there is the only way to expand your possibilities with a connection with somebody, whether it be work, a friend, a stranger that could turn into a friend, or a possible opportunity, romantic, whatever it is, like, just like, even if it's scary, doing it anyway. And as much as it hurts and it sucks sometimes, if they don't reciprocate those feelings or want what you want out of the relationship or connection, then your lines are clear with them, and you can either keep them at a distance, so you don't like hurt yourself, or you can just choose to let them go and move on until you find people that are what you need, you know? I'm getting to a point where like I'm not afraid of other people hurting me. That the pain that I feel anymore is more like what I do to myself, because I feel like I've gained enough self-confidence with myself despite mentally beating myself up, that like if people don't want what I want, I'm still going to go for it. I'm still going to do it, and if they don't want to be by my side, then bye.
Yeah, you want to be with people who want similar things to you. And the only way that you can find people who want similar things to you is to basically express what it is that you want,
Mhm.
so that you guys can find that common ground and go for it together.
Exactly. And it can feel really exposing, and you can like an emotional nakedness, that raw that I'm talking about. But like especially when you're in a connection that you feel really strongly about, but you're confused, that's probably one of the best times to really put yourself out there and say how you feel, because even if it could go wrong, at least you're not hurting yourself by keeping it inside, and then you know what steps to take next, whether it be with that person or moving on to somebody else or something new, you know.
So, a question that's coming up in my mind while you're saying all that is, what advice would you give to somebody who perhaps doesn't know how they feel or has trouble understanding how they feel?
I mean, I personally, in that case, would probably start writing things down and try to get it out, because sometimes your logical brain, when you're writing things down, can make things make more sense. Because when you're just in your head, it can become like a cloud and it's confusing, and you don't know whether you're really feeling the negativity more or the positivity more. And if you say, take somebody's name and write things down about them, like personality traits, like pay attention to how it makes you feel. Like, do these things about them sit well with you, even if it doesn't necessarily make you angry or sad? Does it just give you a feeling that doesn't resonate, And sometimes I definitely get angry with people about certain things that they do, and that's because of my own brain and like having trust issues and shit, and taking things the wrong way and needing to talk to them and communicate that, whatever. And I don't know, I would just really try to pick your brain about how things make you feel, and the right people, even if you're angry or sad or happy, whatever it is, like however you need to get that emotion and confusion out, the right people are going to know how to respond to make you understand, you know? And if they don't want to, or if they just get frustrated and shut down, or if they stop talking to you out of the blue, and, you know, then they're not worth your time to be conflicted about.
Right. If you're even having conflicting feelings, I mean, that's something that you should probably try to figure out and deal with. And I do think that what you're talking about is really effective. And I think something that people misunderstand about those of us who have introverted feeling is it's not that we always know what's going on. It's that we take the time to figure it out because it drives us crazy not to.
Exactly.
And I do think that everyone feels emotions because it's a physical thing in your body that's happening. And it's just about learning the vocabulary to express what those feelings are and taking the time to listen to them. I've had an experience before more than once where I felt a lot of different emotions and they've come at me really, really fast. And I didn't really recognize half of them. That it was just like I was on a roller coaster of emotions. But I almost imagine that's what it might be like for somebody who doesn't understand, because it's almost like they have their glasses off and they're looking at these feelings and they're just kind of a blur of color and they can't see the details in their feelings. And it's about finding the right lens to look through and the right glasses that will help you break down your feelings and separate them and understand them.
Yeah, separating yourself from your feelings so that you can objectively look at yourself is extremely difficult.
Isn't that the freaking truth? I find that I personally have to regularly write things down, like exactly like that advice that you're giving. I definitely feel like I have to do that a lot in order to really understand. And I can do it in my mind, and I often do, but I found that writing it down helps a lot more, because when you have it in your head, you're keeping it in your head. And just like you said, it's kind of like staying in there with all these other ideas and it's clouding everything that's in your mind. Whereas when you write it down, your brain doesn't have to remember it anymore, so it can let go of that thought and you can listen to the other thoughts that are in there, and then kind of have them externalized, which is also an extroverted thinking thing, where we take the thoughts outside of ourselves so we can look at them and really like break down how they are. And I think now I'm going back into like personality a little bit further, but I do think that that's kind of what I imagine TI is, like introverted thinking, is that they have a similar process, but instead of about their feelings, they have it about their, like, I guess logic isn't exactly the right word. And I think that's what confuses people, because they're like feelings and logic, but it's almost like an opinion. Like they have an opinion and they have a reason for their opinion and they know that exact reason. Whereas we have feelings and we know the feelings and we know where they're coming from. So it's kind of important to balance and look at both. So what is my opinion about this and how do I feel about this? And separating the two, because feelings can seem like opinions, but I almost think that feeling and having introverted feeling is much more of an intuition than what people call intuition.
Yes, I agree.
And I wonder if that's why people think that they're intuitive, because they're like, oh, but I have these strong feelings about things. Like I know where I want to go. I know like what I need to do with my life and et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, well, do you have a logical reason for that? They're like, no, because I'm an intuitive. And it's like, well, maybe you're not. Maybe you're actually an introverted feeler.
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting. So if you guys are watching this, definitely write in the comments, you know, if you can resonate with this, if you can see what we're trying to say, and if you agree or disagree, especially if you have TI, like if you're an INFJ or an ESTP, or I don't even know if any ESTPs watch my channel, but if you do, or an INTP, that would be really interesting to hear how you differentiate the two. Would you agree that your introverted thinking is really having an opinion on things and knowing where that opinion came from, and maybe not exactly knowing how you feel about it? like on a, because feelings are physical. So on like that physical level, I don't know. Things to think about. I definitely want to do more videos where we talk about specific differences between our personalities. And I'm just like not being able to think of any questions right now.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine.
So I think it's a really great time for us to end our conversation. And it was live for those of you guys who are watching, but it's going to be in the past by the time you actually watch it. But we're definitely going to try to do this again where we're actually live. She, like you guys heard, is quitting her job. So she'll have different hours of availability soon. So hopefully we'll be able to do things at different times of the day. And
not late at night.
Yeah. Well, not that late at night isn't like fine, but definitely would be nice to have a more alert brain.
Yeah.
But oh, go ahead.
Oh, I just said definitely.
Yeah. But guys, don't worry, it won't be too early because even though when I wake up like an Energizer bunny, I'm ready to go. Kale needs her time.
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much for watching. And I hope that this, gives you a little insight as to the difference between twin types like INFP and ENFP, which we have the same functions, but in a different order. And it really makes us different, even though we can look really similar to people on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, bye.
Bye. I love you.